Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. It looks like we've got a decision coming through. And we have Judge 1, 2, and 3 going to Braden Swan. Up next, we have Lasco leading Crawford. David Lasco in the lead. Handler Crawford in that chase position, 2 GR86s. Ready to go. Ready to go. Here we are. Once our judges are ready, the lights will drop. A 3 and a 2 and a 1. Here we go. Are off down the start. Clean initiation. Crawford in the pocket where he needs to be, right off the jump. Not letting Lasco get too far away from him. Lasco on a fantastic line in the lead right now, grabbing all the zones that he needs to. Good flick to angle. And a clean move to the end of the track there. Very good run from both drivers.
Very good, confident run.
Good run out front from David Lasco. Crawford, a little hesitant maybe in the chase. Maybe could have shored up that proximity a little bit at times, but ultimately a great run.
Drivers are going to pull back up for their second run. Swapping places. Crawford in the lead, Lasco in the chase. Lights go green and away they go. 2 8.6s. Heavy throttling down to that first zone. Big flick. Both drivers right on that inner clip. Lasco kind of missing the first outer zone a little bit, but he is getting the proximity at that sacrifice. Crawford throwing a great lead run out. And across the line they go. Lasco falling behind a little bit towards the end. We'll have to look back and see why that might have been caused, if it was on the lead or if it was Lasco in his chase.
Yeah, you know, Chandler Crawford, excuse me, really running away with it in run 2 in the lead at times, especially kind of towards the end. It looked like Lasco kind of threw in a little bit extra angle. A little bit extra angle in run 2. But with the angle that we had and the angle on the replay, it's kind of hard to tell exactly what went down there. So good thing the judges have the ability to get the angles they need. But I believe we're moving on to a call here before too long.
Seems to be the going thing for today is going to be that last zone and how drivers really carry their throttle through it. We do have a call though.
And it looks like all three judges agree that Lasco is going to get the win here. The judges saw it as a very similar situation as to Samborski earlier. A little bit of parking it in the lead a little bit. Got to be on throttle through that area. So judges are taking note. We're going to move on to Tim Williams against Elias Nasser. All right, the lights are going down, and here we go. Tim Williams with that loud Corvette up front with a commanding lead off the jump. Massive gap. Nasser is moving his way into the door of Tim Williams, sacrificing the zones, but shoring up the proximity. Tim Williams running away with it, but Elias is making his way onto the door before the end of the section.
Not the chase run you want to have going into the top 16. If you want to get into the top 16, you just got to be on it. Can't be sleeping at the line. They're pulled back up for the second half of this run. Once production's ready, we'll go ahead and send them, and the lights are flickering, and they go green. Away they go. Sar in the lead. From great angle. Williams dropping a few tires on the inside. Not making the outer zones like he should. All to get a little bit of proximity, but then falls back in the middle of the track. Sar carrying a beautiful lead run all the way to the finish. Williams kind of leaving a little bit on the table there in his chase run. Definitely could have cleaned that up a little bit.
Yeah, you know, that's not what you want to answer that lead with. You know, he could have been conservative, don't get me wrong, but that was almost being risky at times. So, you know, you see him kind of door into angle at times in the pocket whenever in run two, and then gets a little bit risky at times diving in, but I feel like he could have been a little bit more aggressive but smooth with it in that chase for run two. You know, he had a really great lead.
That might just come down to those top 32 nerves, you know.
Yeah, and Nasser had some, you know, big mistakes in run one in his chase, so he kind of had it in his hands, but I don't know if he did enough to get the win here. We'll have to see. Judges are deliberating and analyzing and making their decision. We will let you know whenever a decision is made. And we have a decision. And our judges are going to Nasser, but just barely. Just barely. He
that's
had
not the close call you want to see.
He had a better lead. So we're going to move on to our next group, sliding over to the other half of the bracket, the right side. And we're going to see O'Hara go against Jason Coate. And then we're going to move on to Lopez against Mossberg, Thompson against Durham, and then Mitchell versus Anderson. As soon as those drivers get in, get their warm-up lap in, we'll be ready to go.
Halfway through our top 32, and some great battles being had. Really key moments. Each driver really bringing everything they can to make sure they get a slot in that top 16 bracket.
Absolutely. Scoring the points for the season. Doing what they can. And round one is a good time to start out with a good bucket of points. So definitely not a time to slack behind.
No, never. You can't. Not with this series. If you start falling behind, no one's waiting for you. They're all bringing everything they can to make sure they get the points. Everybody getting their warm-up lap out of the way.
All right, we need our drivers to get off of the track and clear that out so we can move on and get these battles moving. We're going to have O'Hara against Coate up first. Alex O'Hara leading Jason Coate up first.
Bringing this real vibrant 8.6 to the line. Big wing. Both of these drivers sporting a huge wing.
It is a wang competition, that's for sure. It's a side comp. Don't worry about it.
Side comp. Yeah.
Side comp. All right. Our judges are ready. Here we go. The light is dropping. Alex O'Hara leading us off here. Good initiation. Very clean. Jason Coate sneaking onto the door and staying pretty stuck to it. Leaving a little room for transition, but not letting Alex get too far out of his sight. We go through outer zone 3 to 4, a bumper to bumper transition. Jason Coate diving in a little bit inside, but not letting him go anywhere. Stuck to the door.
Terrific run. We're going to switch these guys around. Coate in the lead, O'Hara in the chase. O'Hara with a wonderful lead run, allowing Coate that wonderful chase run. Gonna have to really match that lead or better it. But she's off to a good start with a huge angle entry, filling those first two outer zones pretty well. O'Hara is right there with him though, kind of straight lining to get into the pocket. Coate's definitely got some speed in that Mustang. Coming through the last outer zone, O'Hara mimicking the angle a lot better, falling back a little bit in proximity.
That was a good one.
That was a good couple of battles.
Hot stuff. Oh man. Let's see if we can pick this apart in any way. It kind of looks like Alex O'Hara had a little bit better zone coverage in 1 and 2, outer zone 1 and 2 rather. But he kind of doesn't really match that angle necessarily in run 2, going through inner clip 2. So, you know, he was compromising angle at times in the chase position, and I wonder if that's going to come back to bite him. That's one thing I noticed.
Yeah, a little bit of pizza cutter driving.
Yeah.
Not going to do you well in the judge's eyes.
No. Jason Coate had a moment where he had a little bit of that, but I don't know. I feel like I noticed a little bit more out of Alex, but we'll see what the judges have to say. They got the better angles and the better decision-making skills for that.
Fantastic runs so far. Next up, we will have Lopez and Mossberg after we get this call. That's just taken a little while to debate on this one, as there's not many mistakes between the two drivers, and the few mistakes there are kind of equal. They both kind of did a great job, but also fell short in a few places. And we're just kind of adding them up and see who's going to come out on top.
Yeah.
All right, it looks like we have a call coming through. All right, we are seeing the judges all, and Judge 2 going to Alex O'Hara and Justin going to Jason Coate. Split decision. Alex O'Hara moving on.
Of the day.
Up next, Lopez leading Mossberg. Jordy Lopez in the lead. Alexander Mossberg in the chase. The light goes down, and here we go. Jordy Lopez starting us off here. Alex Mossberg close to his bumper and staying close upon initiation. Leaving a little bit of room, but unlike other drivers in the chase, not leaving a lot of room on transition, trying to stay close to the door, but drops a tire in the chase. Jordy Lopez looking clean up there in the lead, but Mossberg sacrificing a little bit to dive in there and stay close on proximity. We'll see what he can turn around and do for his lead run.
Yeah, I think Lopez, as long as he stays close, he can run a pretty safe base run. He did a very solid lead run, so this is one of his Mossberg's to kind of gain. He's gonna do something risky here, try and throw off Lopez in his chase. We'll see how they come about it.
Absolutely.
Production's ready. We'll let the lights go down and send him away. And here we go. The lights go green. Mossberg in the lead. Lopez in the chase. Mossberg throwing it in with a ton of speed, but still grabs that inner clip. Great line for the first two zones. Lopez kind of getting left behind. There's a gap he needs to really reel in here. Mossberg throwing big angle into the last zone and pulling away even more. Lopez could have done a bit of a safe chase, but that might have been too safe. I don't know if he could keep up there. I think he was trying and just wasn't able to get that ground back.
Yeah, no, he's playing catch up the whole time. You know, that very likely could come back to bite him. We'll have to see what the judges have to say, but he did have very, on point, well timed transitions, but he had about a car and a half length, sometimes more at times. So, definitely not good to leave that on the table whenever you're in the position that he was in there.
Both drivers completing a pretty solid lead run. I think it will come down to that big gap in the chase. Not up for me to decide, that's for sure. I'm glad I don't have to make calls on these. Pretty close battles. Judges deliberating now, though. Next up, we'll have Thompson and Durham after we get a call from the judges.
Proximity gap could be an issue overall. That's not to say that there weren't some compromises at times from Mossberg. Mossberg at times, did kind of dive in a little bit too far, but we'll see. All right, it looks like we are moving to a decision here. Looks like all judges are going to Jordy Lopez. So, judges giving it to Jordy Lopez there. Jordy Lopez is going to be moving on to the top 16. Up next, Thompson leading Riley Durham.
A quick look at your bracket so far, starting to shape up. 6 more battles in the top 32, and then we'll move on to top 16.
All right, we are ready to go. Jordan Thompson in that lead position. Riley Durham in the chase. And here we go. Purple on purple. Riley Durham diving in, almost dropping 2 tires on the inside to maintain that proximity. Diving back on the door. Staying close. Jordan Thompson. A little bit of a tire on the outside there, but staying clean. Almost sounded like he was a little off there. All right, here we go. Riley Durham in the lead. Beating Thompson here, flipping him around.
Bit of a scrappy first round. A couple tires dropped and a couple zones missed, but let's see if they can clean it up for the second half of this. Durham in the lead, Thompson in the chase. Durham's smooth entry, grabbing that first inner clip nicely. Very consistent angle, allowing Thompson to just kind of stay right there with him. Thompson getting right on the door even before the zone. Durham throttling forward, rotating very smoothly into the last outer zone. Terrific lead run and an amazing chase run to go with it. Probably one of the smoother chase or lead runs we've seen today.
Oh yeah, really nice side-to-side angle. Excuse me. With the replay side by side. I think we're going to have a decision on this battle. We'll see what the judges have to say.
And a little bit of a decel from Thompson in that last zone, where we've been seeing a lot of drivers have issues carrying momentum through. Judges might have something to say about that.
All right, and our judges are sliding them towards Durham. All three judges agreeing and siding, giving the win to Durham on that one. So up next, we're going to have Mitchell leading Anderson. So Austin Mitchell will be in that lead position. And Justin Anderson going to be in the chase.
Be the last battle of this group, and we'll move into the last group of the top 32.
And the line is going down. Mitchell in that lead position. Anderson right behind him. Anderson diving in really close. And Mitchell trying to keep his composure in that lead position. Anderson fading angle a little bit and dropping the tire on the inside in the chase. Getting close to the door of Mitchell as they get through here. Almost pushing him over the line, giving him a little rub at the very end.
And once again, we like to see close driving, but contact with the lead driver is going to bring the judge's eyes very closely at why that's all going on. So you want to try and avoid that as much as possible. We'll flip these drivers around. Anderson in the lead, Mitchell in the chase. Mitchell leaving a big room. See if he's lining up. And the lights will start to go here. And they're dropping and green, and away they go. Anderson throwing it in, dropping a tire on the inside clip. Maybe throwing Mitchell up a little bit. And Anderson missing the second inner clip as well. Not filling outer zone 4 all that much. Coming across the line with a few mistakes on that lead run.
I don't know about that. It looked like Anderson was drag racing there. trying to run
Yeah.
away from him. I don't know. I just personally didn't like the lack of angle, but he did also have a couple of tire drops. But I think Mitchell did a good job doing what he could in that chase position. You know,
He was hanging with him, yeah.
he was hanging with him. He didn't let him get too far away. You know, he did have to shore up angle a little bit to get there, but he was, you know, it seemed to me like he was trying to match as much as he could and stick to the door. So we'll see. We'll see what the judges have to say. All right. All three judges sliding to Mitchell. Mitchell going to get the win. Moving on to the top 16.
Moving on to our final group.
All right. The final group is going to make their way in, do one quick practice lap. And those 8 drivers are going to consist of Jarbo, Ramirez, Cash. Hold on. My screen is all blurry. Really bad. Noah, Lugo, Wright, Bryant, and Kempinski. All right. We'll get all those drivers in, and then they'll get a quick practice lap, and then we'll be ready to go. Up first, we will have Steven Jarbo against Jonathan Ramirez.
Sounds like we are missing a few drivers in the server, but once they join, we will get this party started once again.
All right. Like our drivers have gotten their practice run in. Steven Jarbo and Jonathan Ramirez. Jarbo in the lead. Ramirez in the chase. All right, we're getting our drivers organized in together in the channels they need to be, and we'll get this popped off here in just a minute. Again, that's Steven Jarbo in the lead, excuse me, and Jonathan Ramirez in the chase. Looks like we have most of our drivers in. Waiting on one more, and he's making his way in. Just be a moment, and then we'll get this final group and finalize our top 16. All right, our track is clear. We will have Jarbo leading Jonathan Ramirez. So we need Steven Jarbo to the line and Jonathan Ramirez to the line. Steven Jarbo will be in that lead position. Jonathan Ramirez in the chase. And our light is dropping, and here we go. Jarbo leading us off here. Jonathan Ramirez, a little bit of a gap off the start. Even Jarbo off to the races. Big angle though, leaves opportunity for Jonathan Ramirez to get on the door. So Steven to make it way through the last transition. Steven Jarbo on the throttle. Jonathan Ramirez on his door though, not letting him get anywhere. Jonathan Ramirez really cleaned up the second half of that run in the chase. Very good stuff. We'll see him swap positions and see what Ramirez can do in the lead and Jarbo can do in the chase.
Oh, he's going to pull up again. Those tires a little bit warm, and we'll wait for that light to start going. Sounds like everyone's ready, and we'll just be waiting on the lights. And here they start to drop. Ramirez in the lead. Jarbo in the chase. Big gap to start. Ramirez filling the zones nicely though. Jarbo is there finally. He's on the door. He's a little too far on the door. It gives Ramirez a little bit of a tap, which causes Ramirez to kind of push off, maybe drop one tire, and across the line. Similar runs, similar shortcomes.
I think definitely that contact is going to play a big factor in this
I
one.
think that's going to be the deciding factor on these runs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough to tell on that contact who might be at fault. Judges with their telemetry will definitely have a better idea of what's going on there.
Difficult decision to be made for the judges on this one, I think. A lot of similar mistakes. Good flick to transitions from Ramirez there, but I don't know. You know, there's a lot left on the table from both drivers. The kind of decision the judges come up with.
These drivers spending hours and hours practicing for this track. And it all comes down to just, a few seconds. What really matters, what you do and show when you're on the stream. Sounds like judges are finishing up with their calls. Judge 1 going Jarbo. Judge 2, Jarbo. And Judge 3, all three judges going Jarbo. Looking at telemetry, it seemed that Ramirez did slow down a little bit in his lead run, choking up the chase driver and being the deciding factor.
And we got Hayden Cash leading Randy Noah for this next run. Both drivers are on the line. Looks like we're ready to go. Gonna fire him off. Hayden in the lead here. Randy on his door upon initiation. A little bit of a tire drop in the chase, but sticking to that proximity, matching that angle, dialing in, that mimicking like the judges like to see, bumper to bumper transition, but too close maybe. Looked like there was some contact potentially, maybe some lag, and not quite sure what occurred.
Pretty stellar lead run up until that point of debate. Have to look back and see what was going on there.
All right, we got the drivers flipped around. Randy Noah on the line. That light goes down, and here we go. Randy Noah, big stretching lead out front. Hayden Cash really needing to dive in here to get close to that door. He does so. He's going to have to stick there the rest of this track. Getting really close without touching, but Randy Noah on rails in the lead right now. Wow. What a fantastic run for the second half of that battle. Whew. Fantastic. Geronimo Designs in the Twitch chat. Big shout out to Geronimo. Thanks for coming through, man.
Judges are deliberating what happened in that first run, whether there was a bit of a contact or if it was just a leg spike.
Judges are moving to a decision. We'll see which way they go. It looks like Randy Noah getting the win. Randy Noah moving on to the top 16. And right now we have Lugo against Jaden Wright. All good to go, ready to go. All right, we got Lugo in that lead position. Jaden Wright in the chase. Our light's going to drop and we're going to go here. And we are off. Lugo, big lead out front. Jaden Wright dropping a tire on the inside a little bit. Lugo still with a lot of a proximity gap, but Jaden Wright shores it up towards the middle of the track. Might be a little bit too late in the long run. Lugo kind of taking a little bit of angle out, but keeps it smooth.
Wright definitely dropping a tire or two on that run to try and catch up. I think Wright here has an opportunity to carry a little more angle in his lead. And Lugo has definitely an opportunity to shorten up the proximity on the previous run. So both drivers have the ability to make a deciding factor here in the second run. Wright takes off in his lead run. Long initiation into the first inside zone. Late on throttle, Lugo didn't really know what to do there. Chase, he had to drop a tire to catch up. But Wright throwing down a pretty decent line here after the fact. And a slight decel in the last zone, causing Lugo to catch up pretty quickly, and across the line they go. I think the deciding factor is going to be down to the initiation of Wright in that A90 Supra being a little bit late on gas.
Yeah.
Real long Scandi flick into the first zone. Kind of threw off Lugo in his chase, causing Lugo to drop a tire and have a bit of a gap on that first inner clip. Not a very predictable lead run.
There we go. Drone got lost. But it's back. Judges are analyzing the runs and making their decision. All right, and it appears we have a decision. Paul going to Wright. Ryan going to Lugo. And Justin going to Lugo. Second split decision of the day. And going in Lugo's favor. Right now, we have Bryant leading Kempinski for the last run of the top 32, deciding our top 16. Our drivers are on the line. Our light is lighting up. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, we're off. Bryant out here in the lead. Kempinski right on his door on initiation, not letting him get too far. Riding that inner white line, both of them staying close. Fading back a little bit, Kempinski, but manages to get right back on the door of Bryant, who's running a very, very clean lead thus far. Kicking down the throttle, keeping it smooth.
Pretty good run. Couple things to clean up for the second run. Kempinski definitely working his way onto the door there. Kempinski's going to be leading now with Bryant in the chase. Push these drivers around. Lights are dropping and they are green, and away they go. Penske in the big Mustang is going to throw a huge flick into the first zone. Both drivers right on the inside clip. Filling the outer zones correctly. Bryant right there on him, not having to wiggle around at all. Penske running a pretty decent lead run, making all his marks real consistent. And we'll leave this one to the judges to see what they have to deduct.
We'll see what they come up with. You know, I mean, ultimately, a little bit of proximity gap from time to time from both drivers in their chase positions. But, I mean, a hard-fought battle on both ends. I think maybe I would have liked to see a little bit more angle out of the chase in run one, but he manages to keep the proximity the entire time. So, you know, sometimes a compromise may pay off, or maybe it won't. You never know.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds like judges are just wrapping up their decision on the last battle for the top 32. Next, we'll move into the top 16. You're in that first 8 of the top 16. Get ready to hit that join button. Rolling in here.
I think we're going to have a short break in between, but we will be moving on. Looks like we are moving to a decision here. All right, we got Ryan going Kempinski, Justin going Kempinski, and an OMT from Paul. Kempinski moving on to the top 16 to go against Lugo. All right, we're going to move to a quick little 5-minute break, and then we're going to break into our top 16.